hilarious. Just because someone can do something to a product that is sold does not mean that the manufacturer is responsible for that. Matthew Platkin's next lawsuit, he's suing Sudafed.
Sure.
You know what? Because you make meth out of it.
Sure.
So Sudafed, can't buy that in New Jersey anymore. Like, what? Children, minors, you know, like, I'm going to sue Mother Earth because you can grow psychedelic mushrooms. We are the Arms Attorneys. Today we are talking about a brand new lawsuit filed by the Attorney General of New Jersey against Glock. We're going to tell you what Glock item he's challenging, what the reasoning is for suing a firearm manufacturer, and why we think this is a total switch hunt. But before we get started, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting the like button.
So this lawsuit just landed yesterday. The Attorney General for the state of New Jersey, Matthew Platkin, versus Glock. Now, I don't have a case number to direct you to just yet. We'll throw the complaint up on screen just so you can see it. I'm sure if you search this, you're not going to find, have difficulty locating the petition. But we look at this lawsuit against Glock, and basically the argument here, they're making several arguments, but ultimately that the Glock is defective in that it could be readily convertible to being a machine gun.
Right.
It's a long petition. It's like 70 pages.
It's a long petition. And we'll talk through the causes of action are basically nuisance and products liability.
Yeah.
But the facts, right? So if you've ever been served with a lawsuit, if you've ever read through a lawsuit, you will know that there's sort of an introduction. They introduce the parties where you can be served, and then they lay out the facts, and then they lay out the causes of action. And the facts here, oh my God, are absolutely insane, because essentially the allegation is there exists this thing called Glock switches. Glock switches are bad, okay, and minors use them, and there's all sorts of shootings where they use them, and Glock knows that minors use them, and Glock knows that a lot of deaths come from this, and so Glock is bad, and here we go. I mean, did you read through the facts?
Yeah, I read through the facts. I mean, basically it's a tug on your heartstrings. How else are we supposed to get this thing if we don't do it this way?
Rap music glorifies, and that's actually in the petition in multiple places. It's like, rap music is terrible, first of all. I mean, unless it was from the 90s or early 2000s, in which case it runs through my head all the time and it's not terrible, but new rap music is terrible. And so, yeah, okay, sure. It glorifies a lot of horrible things. Yeah. Drug use and abuse of women and all sorts of things that, you know, like, go sue, I don't even know who recent rapists are. Go sue 21 Savage. I don't know.
You'll be hearing from 21 Savage's lawyer. So we have our tug on our heartstrings, you know, facts here. We have our causes of action, nuisance, and then kind of a products liability. And I think I know where they're going with this, trying to get around the Protection and Lawful Commerce of Arms Act, PLCAA, by saying, hey, these things are defective because they can accept switches. And this is all baloney. It's all baloney.
So number one, nuisance. And they allege, like, I forget now, 3 or 4 counts of nuisance, maybe more. The Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, passed in 2005, was in fact passed specifically because firearm manufacturers were being targeted with nuisance lawsuits. So the fact that you can't sue a firearm manufacturer for nuisance isn't some weird loophole in the PLCAA. It is exactly why Congress said we need a law, which was a bipartisan supported law.
Yep.
Bernie Sanders actually jumped on board and was a big champion of this law. It is not suing a gun manufacturer for creating a public nuisance is literally the point of this law that we've passed. Now, what is exempted from this law is, well, I mean, there's some issues, you know, we've been dealing with. If you look at the mass shootings recently, you see lots of exemptions for marketing.
Yeah.
That's not even this. They're not even alleging that, although they do. Did you catch that part about Glock on Facebook?
Yes.
So
Glock didn't untag themselves in Facebook posts.
Yeah, like people were like, ooh, Glock switch, and like tagging Glock USA on Facebook. And whoever runs
the intern didn't do it fast.
Yeah.
I don't know what the argument is.
Just totally bizarre. But basically they're saying, like, Glock implicitly supports this, which makes them even more evil and
Silence is
liable.
violence. They love that.
Oh, so they love silence is violence. So yes, Glock, silent and violent. But so we're not even talking about like a marketing issue, right? We're talking about product's liability, which says that the product was not essentially safe for its intended use. Something in the product was defective. When we think about product's liability, we're thinking about
Like a gun exploding in your hand because,
Yes.
there's like a material defect or there's like a metal impurity and it can't have the pressure, or like you can think of all kinds of things.
right. I mean, you buy a really, really expensive gun and it doesn't function as intended. It can't fire a bullet. Well,
Sounds defective.
sounds like product's liability. Product's liability is not that gun works and someone can make an aftermarket modification not produced by Glock that makes it, I mean, frankly, work more better, right? I mean, with the caveat that, fully
illegal.
automatic weapons are illegal.
Sure.
But
More better.
if you're like, I know, but if you're looking in the grand kind of scheme of things, yeah, that it works better that way if you're kind of thinking of it from the 10,000-foot view. So
But what I'll say is, as Cargill v. Garland preempted a lot of this, the government's argument in that case was virtually all guns are machine guns. I mean, that's really, and the bump stock was almost kind of irrelevant to all of this. I think we have a decision on that. Every gun's not a machine gun. I mean, that's ultimately what the New Jersey Attorney General is trying to say here.
well, yeah, I mean, they're basically saying that these can't, any firearm that, and this is the relief they're seeking, right?
Right.
Any firearm that can be easily switched from semi-automatic to fully automatic should be banned from distribution in New Jersey.
Right.
So, okay, I will just say that number one, facts, hilarious. Just because someone can do something to a product that is sold does not mean that the manufacturer is responsible for that. Matthew Platkin's next lawsuit, he's suing Sudafed.
Sure.
You know what? Because you make meth out of it.
Sure.
So Sudafed, can't buy that in New Jersey anymore. Like what? Children, minors, like I'm going to sue Mother Earth because you can grow psychedelic mushrooms. And minors use them and it's dangerous. I mean,
Eric Platkin versus Gaia.
That's a good one. But no, I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous reasoning. So all of that to say, ridiculous reasoning, ridiculous request, because I guarantee that all those Glock switches that are being used, all those firearms you're dropping those Glock switches into that are being used in the deadly shootings in New Jersey, I don't think they're being bought legally from an FFL dealer.
No. Well, and you think about, all right, how many times do we have to criminalize something before, the problem is fixed, I guess we could say. But, machine guns, generally illegal, new build machine guns. And this goes for parts that are designed and intended to be used exclusively in machine guns. So these switches, for all intents and purposes, qualify for this. They're illegal under federal law. I'm sure they're illegal under New Jersey law.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Prosecute the people who are breaking the law. If you're into that, do I think machine guns should be illegal? No. But if you're mad at folks for having Glock switches, go after the people you're mad at.
And, I will say the thing in this petition that I do agree with is that there is a huge uptick all across the country in the use of Glock switches, and law enforcement's reporting those upticks. I see it in the Harris County courtrooms. I see it. I mean, every time I'm there, I hear more and more probable cause that includes Glock switches. Okay, well, it's illegal. If you don't like it, prosecute it. And then we can get a real case that talks about the legality of new machine guns and what's going to happen with that. This isn't even a Bruin matter right here.
No.
This shouldn't go through Bruin reasoning. I mean, in a just and right world, we would have a district, a state level, lowest court level district judge who says, absolutely not. You can't sue a nuisance. Absolutely not. This isn't product liability. Maybe it gets appealed up through the New Jersey system. Everyone slaps it down. But regardless, even if these judges do the wrong thing, which I suspect, is bound to happen in New Jersey, it's still not a Second Amendment case.
No.
Weirdly enough.
No, and I mean, Glock's not headquartered in New Jersey.
No.
So, I mean, this is a diversity jurisdiction issue also. This is going to get removed to federal court.
They should remove it to federal court.
So, I mean, but that's because you don't want the unfair playing field. And hopefully this gets all sorted out. But, I mean, the process is the punishment. The lawfare is the, I mean, this isn't a defect of the system. They're just trying to run these places out of business. And I'm rooting for Glock on this one.
No, I mean, there is no realistic chance that Glock should be liable here. Of course, we should all be rooting for Glock. But like Richard said, the bad thing has already happened. They have already had to deal with this. Their bean counters are already there working on, okay, how much money is it going to cost to defend this lawsuit? What is this going to cost in bad press? I mean, how are we going to combat this? And the price of guns just got higher. It already got higher.
Yeah. But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
And please question, comment for us below. Until next time, we're the Armed Attorneys. You asked, we listened. So we talked once about Richard having a series of movie titles for lots of criminal defense issues in our lives. So here we go.
All right, you know, because I'm a list maker, and I want to hear y'all's, if y'all have any additions to this list. This is important. So Switch Hunt.
That's the original movie.
Yep. Switch Hunt 2, The Switching.
Switch Hunt 3, I Know What You Did Last Drive-By.
Switch Hunt 4, The Nightmare Before Switch Street.
Switch Hunt 5. Friday the Switch Team.
That's my favorite one. Switch Hunt 6, Silent of the Switches.
Switch Hunt 7, this is mine. Switches Get Stitches.
Yeah, so if you got any additions to add to this lineup,
comment with
this
more
powerhouse
additions.
lineup of movie titles, please let us know.